And good morning on this beautiful October 1st morning on the Lou Information Station. This is Miz-Stl. I'm Grant Salzman. I'm joined by Hannah Barton and Brendan Schaefer. And there were two football games played by our teams last weekend, and they were certainly two of the football games that have been played of all time. Missouri defeated UMass, and South Carolina defeated Kentucky in some pretty boring football games. I don't know if there was a lot of excitement in Columbia on Saturday, Brendan.
Yeah, for Mizzou, anytime you're scheduling these type of kind of cupcake games, there's not really a lot that you can take away from it. And so Mizzou won the game. They won very handily. I probably found more things to nitpick at and to count as negatives than maybe some people think is appropriate, because like when you play this kind of game, you expect just total domination. That's largely what they did against Louisiana a few weeks earlier. And I think they came out a little bit sluggish in this one, but like the final stats and everything still reflected the type of team that Mizzou is. And I don't think we were going to learn anything in the negative about them. Get through the game healthy was the main thing. You had Ahmad Hardy go into the injury tent early. I think he was probably just dealing with some cramps. Other than that, there wasn't really anything that I'm aware of to note. And so you feel pretty good about the way the Tigers came out of that one, and you just move on to the bye week now and get ready for Bama.
And Hannah, your South Carolina Gamecocks got a big 35-13 win over Kentucky in the basement of the SEC.
Yes. I think probably the most exciting thing in that game was Kentucky player chucking a ball at Lenore Steller's grandpa.
Yeah.
That clip. Of course, the player apologized, and it appeared to have possibly been an accident. Of course, he had no idea that it was Lenore Steller's grandfather. But, there was definitely some chippiness throughout the game. But I think overall, South Carolina fans can kind of take a breath right now, because we got that decisive win over Kentucky. Now we have the bye week and can get reset before heading into LSU on the road next weekend, which is going to be a big test.
The big test for the Gamecocks. They try to turn their season around. Brandon, let's go back to Mizzou. You were at the game, correct?
I was there. For homecoming with some of my friends. Yeah.
We discussed your time frame. How long did you last at Faurot Field?
Yes, so this is interesting. I actually, and my wife and my son were there, and my son has really taken to the whole Mr. Brightside thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said, and man, now that I think back on it, it's like he was some sort of future teller, because in the first quarter he goes, yeah, they're not going to play Brightside. I was like, yeah, they will, Gabe. Don't worry about it. Like, they'll play it at the end of the third quarter, and we'll leave. We can leave after that, because it'll probably be a big enough lead. I talked to you on Friday about maybe catching the end of the Bama-Georgia game, end of the Oregon-Penn State game, and so that felt like it would be an appropriate time to leave. Well, we get to the end of the third quarter, and lo and behold, they didn't play the song. Now, I wasn't at family weekend against Louisiana. I since found out they didn't play it during that game either. And it's like family weekend, homecoming, for whatever reason. Maybe they just don't think it's quite as appropriate to broadcast what happens during that song during those events. Maybe that was the reasoning. I don't know. I hope they'll play it during Alabama. But it was kind of like that was the benchmark for when we were going to leave the game. And when they didn't play it, I was like, guys, you turned me into a liar with my kid. I don't like that. So that was a little funny, but also like, what the hell, man? So, yeah, we left after the third quarter, and that was probably appropriate time to do it. I was watching both games on my phone in the car afterwards, the two good games that ended up both finishing to be pretty compelling in the SEC and the Big Ten, respectively.
So
I would just like to point out that South Carolina has never skipped out on playing Sandstorm. So throwing that one out there.
It's a good point. No, I'm disappointed. I really am. And look, I get it. Like, you don't want to. Mizzou has seemingly, like, administration has seemingly a love-hate relationship with the thing, because they know it's a big thing that pumps people up during big games. But it's also like, if it's not as big of a game, do they feel like it's almost kind of overkill? Like it's a little bit, passe to do it. I don't really know. They put Beat KU up on the screen. They pop fireworks during the part where people are shouting obscenities to try and negate the effects of it. So like they kind of lean into it, but they're also kind of double standardy about it. So I don't know. Sandstorm is like, just do it. So it's very family friendly, I guess. Maybe that's the difference.
Very true. Much more family friendly.
Now, what was the atmosphere like, Brennan? Decent still for UMass?
Yeah, I mean, because they put it on homecoming, I think it was far better than it would have been if you had just had it as UMass in a random, normal game. I don't know what the Louisiana crowd looked like, and that was also the one where the air temperature was like
100
in the 90s. The field temperature was like 170 degrees, and so they had to move the game up and everything. And so if that one was lesser, and certainly the second half was lesser in that one, I don't know the exact extent, but that was kind of similar with this one. Like as you got into the third and fourth quarters, it started to kind of thin out a little bit. But I was largely impressed when you consider it was UMass for what it looked like in the beginning, in the first half of the game. And honestly, like Columbia all weekend, like we went down there for the house decorations on Friday night and the parade on Saturday. It did seem to be like pretty jumping and packed for the entire festivities over the weekend. But it was like, because it's UMass, the game is an afterthought. And I really, when they announced that it was going to be UMass in late September, at first I was like, man, I was really hoping they would lean into the Alabama thing, because if you had made Alabama homecoming, A, that would have sent a real statement about what you think about your team, that you're not afraid of playing Bama and you think you have a chance to win that game. B, something tells me that they might have been able to coax the SEC into a later start time for Alabama. If they said, hey, it's our homecoming game, can you at least give us time, give us 2:30 even, so that we can get to the game after the parade? And it's a big thing for us. Like the SEC has worked with them on homecoming before. But I think when you think about the sellout streak, that's probably what won out. And you would not have sold out the UMass game if you didn't attach homecoming to it. So that's the logic behind it. And it sort of is what it is.
Well, Missouri has a bye this week, and then we'll take on Alabama, as you say, Brennan. Let's get in to that Alabama-Georgia game. And Hannah, I know that Brendan and I were both a little busy. Were you at the South Carolina game?
I was. So I was also busy as well. But, I mean, nonetheless, I think everybody in the college football world has heard about that game.
So what are your takeaways then from Alabama defeating Georgia 24-21?
I mean, one thing that really stands out to me is the development of Ty Simpson. I mean, he has really kind of shown that he has the capability to be that Alabama quarterback, especially going up against a defense like Georgia that, I mean, I would say probably underperformed a little bit in terms of their normal standard for, what we've come to expect from a Georgia defense. But I think Ty Simpson to me is a big standout from that game, just what he's been able to do with that team and continue to develop each game.
What about you, Brendan?
Yeah, I think I look at it through the lens of what it means for Mizzou. And coming into that Alabama-Georgia game, I would have probably said, I don't know that Mizzou would be favored over Bama, but I think it would be close. And now I'm kind of sitting here thinking, if Bama's a touchdown favorite on the road, I will not be surprised by that, and it might be correct. Alabama really impressed me with the way that they handled that road environment as a slight underdog against a Georgia team that I think coming into the weekend, we would have said, yeah, de facto top team in the SEC. Like, we know LSU had some wins. We know, there's some other teams. Now, obviously, Ole Miss will be a team that we get into with their big win over the Bayou Bengals over the same weekend. But, yeah, I really thought Georgia, while they're not maybe as locked in as a Georgia team often has been over the past handful of years, still would have kind of deferred to them as the best team in the league. And Alabama went into their place and got a very, tough win. And it's the way they did it as well that I think impacts how I view the upcoming matchup for the Tide against my Tigers, because they throw the ball, as Hannah mentioned, like Ty Simpson taking a step forward. They have a really effective passing game. And Mizzou's weakness is their secondary. I just don't think there's anything that, there's even a couple of lapses against UMass where you're like, nobody's going to be perfect. It's hard when the defense knows where they're trying to run and throw the ball and you don't. Like, yeah, it's tougher for the defense. And when you got college kids, the secondary is always going to be the first thing to struggle. And that's really been the case for Mizzou. And so can they clean up some of the issues over the bye week that have persisted since really the beginning of Corey Batoon's tenure here as the defensive coordinator at Missouri? I'm not convinced that the matchup against Alabama is the one that's going to be conducive toward us seeing those strides being made in a positive direction. But you do notice the way that Georgia was able to run the ball on Alabama.
Yeah.
I will be watching that this coming weekend as Vanderbilt goes into Tuscaloosa. Can Vandy run the ball effectively against the Tide? Because if they can, I think that will show that, all right, there is definitely something to exploit there. And we know that the run game of the the Tigers is Mizzou's strength. And so to be able to lean into that could make for a very interesting dynamic. Bama might throw all over you, but can Mizzou kind of handle ball control, time of possession, and maybe get one timely takeaway to flip the game? Like that might be the script. And I sort of thought Bama now I think is more likely to beat Mizzou than I thought before the Georgia game. But by the same token, we may have identified a little bit more firmly the way that the Tigers can attack that Crimson Tide defense.
Yeah, Georgia ran for 33 carries, 227 yards, only threw for 130. Could have been a little more. They had a wide open Zachariah Branch streaking down the middle, and he had an untimely drop that might have cost the Bulldogs the game in the long run. Now, I was impressed kind of with what Hannah said with Ty Simpson's ability, and you, Brendan, is not only his ability to throw the ball, but it's not just to Ryan Williams. I mean, Ryan Williams, 5 catches for 43 yards, but spreading the football around, I think 9 guys had a catch. So obviously this Bama team's always been talented. And on top of it, they're spreading the wealth out too. It felt like last year, a lot of times, if Ryan Williams wasn't making plays, they struggled a little bit offensively. That changes, I think, with how deep this receiving core is. And I think, Brendan, to your point, that's where a lot of the challenges are poised now, because it's one thing like with South Carolina. Harbor was your biggest concern. I know that some other players had big games, but it didn't kill you. You can make sure Ryan Williams doesn't have a big game, but now they have a bunch of other receivers who are really good.
But you realistically can't make sure.
No, I agree. I'm
game. Like
I'm saying though,
but
yeah, I'm saying that if you double team Ryan Williams, they have a bunch of other receivers who are really good.
Yeah. And if you double team Ryan Williams, that's no guarantee of success. Like I'm
I
agreeing
agree.
generally with your point, but I think it's even tougher than that because Ryan Williams is that good. He went 5 for 43 against Georgia. Clearly that, they did a nice job of slowing him down, but man, I really do believe with the way that they were able to spread the ball, you had I'm looking at it now, 6 different guys that were at 24 or more yards. You had 3 different guys at 40 or more. Like they really were able to beat you in a lot of different ways. Jeremy Bernard is a guy that's had some huge games in recent weeks, 5 for 35 and a touchdown against Georgia. And of course, Isaiah Horton was the lead receiver in that game. So yeah, you have at least 3 guys that I think Mizzou is going to have a really, really hard time contending with. And that's why I don't think, and I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, we'll have all next week to talk about that matchup, but I don't think Mizzou wins the game without winning the turnover battle. I think that's going to be maybe the first time this year that definitively you have to get more takeaways than giveaways in order to beat Alabama. Yeah,
I think you're right there. Another big game, it was a weekend of college football full of big games, was the Landry Kiffin Bowl. Ole Miss defeats LSU 24-19. Hannah, what were your takeaways from that one? LSU offense continues to struggle.
Yeah, I mean, you look at LSU's defensive stats, and Landry Kiffin's boyfriend, Mr. Whit Weeks, for the Tigers had 10 tackles, and that was only the 3rd most of the team. I mean, they had multiple guys. I mean, you have 13, 11, 10 tackles for 3 of your defensive players. So great defensive stats, but it's their offense. Garrett Nussmeier obviously continuing to struggle, but apparently he's not injured. It's not a health thing, but, couldn't really get anything going offensively. Run game either. Nothing really that stood out on the offensive side of the ball. On the other hand, Ole Miss really just showing that they found their guy in Trinidad Chambliss. I think that's pretty much a no-brainer. You have your 3rd straight game with over 300 passing yards, and then of course, what he's able to do on the ground. I think that was something that, of course, he had the 1 interception, but still something that stood out to me was that they've seemed to find their groove with their offense. Their run game looked great. And they were able to still be effective against an LSU defense that put up good numbers statistically.
Yeah, and Brendan, what do you make of Garrett Nussmeier?
Yeah, disappointing. I mean, I thought coming into the year that he would be, I probably had him ranked as one of the top quarterbacks in the SEC. I'm trying to remember down at SEC Media Days when we voted for the all preseason teams. He might have been my very number 1 in the conference. Like I was kind of right that Arch Manning would have a slow start, and I didn't want to put him too highly ranked on the list. But I think Nussmeier, I just felt like with LSU's track record of just developing that next NFL caliber wide receiver, and they usually have more than one of them at a time on the roster, I thought he was going to have the weapons he needed. He's now got additional experience to feel like, he's been around for a long time. He's started as in 2024 and had a very good season. Like I thought this was going to be like the Heisman caliber breakout year for him in a significant way. And man, we've been talking about the LSU offense after just about every game that they've played this year. And I know Brian Kelly doesn't like it, but now it's like, now that you're playing real teams, it's going to start to catch up with you. And look, we thought maybe that Florida and Clemson were going to be two challenges. And we posed this. I said, look, man, when we're crowning and anointing LSU as one of the top teams in the conference and giving them this top 5 AP ranking because they beat Clemson, they beat Florida. What if Clemson and Florida aren't very good? And I think we've since found out that they're both very mediocre teams this year. And especially relative to the hierarchy of like the very top in the country, we can't look at those two wins in the way that they happened for LSU and just decide that, oh, they're this great team. Look, I'm not taking anything away, because going to Ole Miss, that's another team that's probably top 10 in the country. And maybe LSU's real talent level is top 10, top 15 as well. But we're starting to realize that, if the offense doesn't find its level, it's going to catch up to them. And it already has begun to do so in this weekend.
Yeah, and Trinidad Chambliss is the guy. I mean, Austin Simmons was the QB1. He struggled a little bit with turnovers. Trinidad's been flawless, really. I mean, he hasn't really been turning the ball over. As Hannah said, 300-yard games in a row. My worry is he's a little inefficient, a lot of incompletions, but it works. It works in this Lane Kiffin offense, and really this Ole Miss defense is good enough that as long as you don't put them behind the 8-ball with those turnovers, they're going to find ways to win. And this could be Lane Kiffin's best team at Ole Miss, which I know is weird to say after they've had Jackson Dart, a top 10 pick in the NFL draft or 15 pick the last 3 years. But I think this could be the most put together team that Lane Kiffin's had with Ole Miss, Brendan.
I need to see more I need to see a little bit more, I think.
Okay.
From the defense,
Mm-hmm.
they shut down Tulane, but like, man, Arkansas, who's got a pretty good offense, like although they fired their coach, and we can talk about that, they have one of the top 20, maybe top 10 offenses in the country, in my opinion, through the Razorbacks. So I really feel like, all right, it's understandable to give up points to them, but that was a home game where they gave up 35 to the Hogs. And holding LSU to 19 is not some grand accomplishment, because I don't think LSU's offense is very good at this point, or at least it's not firing on all cylinders. But the point you made about it might be the best team he's had, it's gonna be reflected in the record, even if it's not true, because their schedule, once you grab that LSU game, it really opens up to where you can drop at Georgia, you can drop at Oklahoma, clean up the rest of your games, which isn't a given. Like, you host South Carolina, you host Florida, you go to Mississippi State for the Egg Bowl. Those are 3 conference games that you're going to be favored in. And as long as you clean them up, though, you're going to end up 10-2 and a shoe-in for the college football playoff by virtue of this LSU win, which is viewed as a really great win. And I am saying I think their 10-2 record is going to be viewed more favorably because as it settles, you're going to look back and say, man, the games that were supposedly tough on Ole Miss's schedule outside of that actually were not all that difficult, but they're going to be able to get away with it. And that's fair. Like, I'm not going to knock them. They're going to go 10-2 with a schedule that, is 10-2 doable after the LSU win. You got to give credit where it's due. And so I'm just saying, when we get to the CFP and when Ole Miss is 10-2 and they're in that game, I'm not going to be overly excited to push in my chips on the Rebels, because it was like, wow, they had this great season. I don't really know if we're going to really know about this team truly unless they knock off Georgia or Oklahoma, in which case then I'll have to capitulate. But otherwise, I'll be looking at that CFP matchup going, I might like whoever's on the other side, because Ole Miss might be a little bit overrated going into that based on the path that they took to get there. Okay, another crazy game we had was Tennessee, Mississippi State, goes to overtime. Tennessee scores, gets a stop. The Volunteers, they beat Mississippi State 41-34. They're looking like one of the better teams in the SEC. I know they lost that game to Georgia, missed kick, but this offense, Hannah, has really been impressive with Joey Aguilar.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been saying it the past couple of weeks how it's been more impressive than we thought. Obviously he didn't have a great performance against Mississippi State, just when you take into account the interceptions, but still was able to tackle on, over 300 yards of passing and have those 2 touchdowns to his name. I know that they lost, but I've been so impressed with Mississippi State.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested to see how they continue to go this season. I know we talk about, it was a home game for Mississippi State. A home game in Starkville is really not the quite to the same caliber as a home game as probably 70% of these SEC teams, just because, obviously you have the cowbells that'll throw some people off, but otherwise it's just not really the same feel as, let's say, obviously you were playing like at Rocky Top. But I was impressed with the offense, and I think Joey Aguilar has proven to be, obviously better than some people expected. And based off and on over with old Nico and UCLA, it sounds like Tennessee really got the good end of the deal here.
One of the funniest things that have happened in college football in the last 10, 15 years is Nico leaving and being this bad, where Joey is just outstanding at Tennessee. What do you make of really both teams, Brandon? Because this Mississippi State story is really awesome. This win, all of a sudden they're looking at 5-0 and saying we could sneak into the playoffs maybe. I don't think that's going to happen, but definitely an 8-4 season could be on the horizon if they knock off a couple teams maybe they shouldn't.
Yeah, man, that was one that I really feel like they needed to get, because they, like you said, they were on the cusp, and they hadn't had any blemishes until then. Their schedule's very difficult. You go to College Station, to Gainesville. Like, that's one that Florida's going to be going, okay, we got to get this one, right? You host Texas, even going to Arkansas now with Bobby Petrino at the helm, you're going to have to wonder if that looks different. They face Georgia, they come to Mizzou, Ole Miss. Like, there's so many difficult games that was one that I think, if you were going to imagine a path even to like a 9-3 and saying, hey, we had one of the most difficult schedules in the country, count our 9-3, you needed to beat Tennessee. Because I think Tennessee, despite what you all said about their offense, which is very, very true, I don't know if their defense is very good.
Yeah.
Like, you look at the body of work so far. My reaction to the Syracuse game, week 1, was 26 points against Syracuse. Okay, you're at home, like you won handily, but that was, they put up points on you. East Tennessee, 17 points. Obviously, the Georgia game, that was a home game where you hang 41, but you give up 44, including overtime, lose to the Bulldogs. 24 against UAB to not cover, and then they don't cover against Mississippi State. Obviously, game goes to overtime. I was on Mississippi State as an upset alert in that one, and they just fell a little bit short. But I'm looking at the remainder of their schedule. It's very Ole Miss-like, and Hannah and I talked about this with our SEC previews to begin the season, that there's really an opening with the schedule for Tennessee to just be able to handle their business and kind of waltz into a college football playoff situation. You still have Alabama, and that's a tough one on the road. I'm definitely going to be taking the Tide in that one. You host Oklahoma, you host Vanderbilt, but like 2 home games against teams that they're ranked, but I think Tennessee can certainly beat them both. And really, you can afford to drop the Bama game and still be in a really fine position. But my thought is that is still a team that, and maybe I'll be going to my grave of the 2025 season saying this, Tennessee in my mind is still a team that is susceptible to the upset. I thought it was going to happen in Starkville. It didn't. Like, I'm looking at even a home game against Arkansas with Bobby Petrino going, don't overlook that one. That's after a bye week, so maybe that helps the Volunteers. But, like, they have the schedule to be able to just carve out that 10-2 and be another team that you can't leave out of the playoff with an SEC record of 10-2. But there's the game hosting Arkansas. There's a game at Kentucky. There's a game at Florida. Like, they cannot afford to even think about dropping any of those games, kind of like they did the Mississippi State game.
Well, let's talk about, you mentioned it a few times, the Arkansas Razorbacks were beat down, bludgeoned, whatever you want to say, by Notre Dame. They fell 56-13, and Sam Pittman was let go as head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks, and Petrino's back, his second stint as head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks, although he is the interim head coach here. My first thing is, we can talk about what Arkansas will be with Petrino, but the decision of bringing Pittman back and then giving him, 5 games is a little puzzling. Like, why bring him back if you weren't just going to give him the whole season? You give him less than half a season. Obviously, that Memphis loss is really, really bad. Maybe he is able to buy time, but I just thought the whole way Arkansas handled it was strange, because you knew you'd probably be 6-6 and 7 or 7-5 again with Pittman. Why even bring him back? That's what I don't understand.
I mean, honestly, Hunter Yurchik, their athletic director, is still whining about money and saying that he didn't have the resources to succeed. And so, like, Did they just want to try to get through his contract and not have to pay 2 coaches in one season?
Yeah.
So like they're bringing in Petrino, who was already on staff, to take over as the interim, although he's firing coaches left and right. And so he's acted like he's got the job. And so he's going to certainly try to make a play for it, which I do think will make Arkansas more effective and competitive the rest of the season. I think that gives you a jolt. But look, you lose to Memphis, and then you look the way you looked against Notre Dame when you were a 4.5-point underdog at home. It's over. I thought they should have fired him after 2023. I every year that they would bring Sam Pittman back, I would celebrate as a Mizzou fan because like this guy ain't it. He's probably a good dude. He's probably maybe his players like him. He was not going to succeed there. I just never saw it. And so it was like Arkansas was a walkover team every single year for the Battle Line rivalry that he was going to remain there. And so I would have gotten rid of him 2 years ago. And so the fact that they didn't do that, it just tells me, it's very weird because they act like there's money for the basketball program to hire Kyle Perry. But for whatever reason, they haven't gotten their wagons circled yet when it comes to how they want to invest financially in the football program in the way that they need to. And maybe that'll change now, just, getting to rock bottom. But the way they looked in that Notre Dame game when people were expecting a shootout, right? People were expecting the shootout like you had in A&M versus Notre Dame. And Arkansas just didn't show up for the game. So that on the heels of the Memphis game, like if they lose to Notre Dame by 7, I don't think he gets fired. But that was embarrassing, and they just needed to move on.
Hannah, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that a lot of people were surprised Pittman continued, they brought him back. And I think it's just quite a hilarious full circle moment that now we have Petrino back at the helm of Arkansas football. I think that, obviously he is doing what he feels like he needs to be done, getting rid of pretty much most of the main defensive staff. It's no question that has been the problem for Arkansas. Obviously, their offense wasn't the best it's been in that Notre Dame game, but you've got a really talented quarterback. You've got some good wide receivers and a good running game potentially there in Fayetteville. I think that if you can get your defense figured out, you can maybe still salvage this season after some stinging losses. It doesn't get any easier, that's for sure. But if they can figure out the defense, they've got the offensive pieces to do, what they need to do. And I think if they're able to string together a pretty decent record, who knows? Maybe Petrino's sticking around for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that Arkansas defense is maybe what you would think of as an old Big 12 defense. It is bad. I mean, Notre Dame, if they wanted to, could have scored 100 points. If they just wanted to run as quick as they could, Arkansas was never going to stop them. It was bad.
I think the question is, you get rid of the defensive staff, turn around in the middle of a season with the group that you have. Maybe he's looking at it and he's like, oh, we have players that can do it. It just was the coach's responsibility that they kind of fell short. But then on the other end, it's like how much of it is maybe just the players that you have and needing to restock for next season. So is it almost hurting you more to get rid of your defensive staff and even cause more inconsistencies? Although I think their defense is kind of at a point where it's like, no matter what kind of a wrench you throw in it, you can't really get too much lower. So they're probably just trying to, grasp for straws and see anything that they can do at this point.
Yeah, so Arkansas fires Sam Pittman and Bob Petrino will take over as the interim head coach. We're going to take a quick break, come back, talk about a couple of the other games in the SEC, and then I'm going to have them rank their top teams in the SEC, see where Missouri falls on the list. This is Miz-Stl on the Loot Information Station. We're live and on demand at lootinfo.com, and we'll be right back.
This hour of content on the Lou Information Station is brought to you by Grandpa Pigeons, Johnny Mac's Sporting Goods, and Becky's Carpet and Tile Superstore.
Hey, see that, kids? That's the St. Louis Arch, the gateway to the West.
The Lou Information Station, where we'll always call it Highway 40 or Highway 40 if you're a boomer.
The St. Louis expression?
Stream our content 24/7 at louinfo.com. The Lou Information Station.
This is Mizzou wide receiver Kevin Coleman Jr.
And I'm Mizzou linebacker Josiah Trotter.
When we hit the field, we have each other's back.
And off the field, we got James Carlton, State Farm covering us.
Thanks, fellas. Nothing beats college football season and nothing beats saving money. Just by getting a quote from our office and mentioning Mizzou, we'll make a donation to support Mizzou's Will to Win push on your behalf. No strings attached.
So you're supporting the team just by checking your rates. Doesn't get any easier than that.
It's so easy. Check them out online at carltoninsurance.net. MIZZOU.
Tired of the mess? Let's fix that fast. St. Louis Closet Co. delivers custom designed closets, locally made and professionally installed. From master closets to mudrooms, we do it all right here in Maplewood, Missouri. Support local, get organized, feel amazing. Call 314-781-9000 for your free estimate or visit stlouisclosetco.com today.
LouInfo.com news headlines. Brought to you by Brown and Crouppen, 222-2222.
With your LouInfo.com news, I'm Jared Cirillo. A St. Charles woman is now in custody after authorities said she killed her son. Krista Roy is charged with first-degree murder for the death of her 16-year-old son, whose body was found Monday during a welfare check. Police say Roy admitted to shooting the boy while he slept and then stabbing him because she wanted to put him, quote, out of his pain. Washington University is cutting hundreds of jobs as it braces for a major drop in funding. University officials announced Tuesday it's let go of more than 300 staff members and closed almost 200 open and vacant positions. And a high school coach in the Metro East is accused of drug trafficking. Federal prosecutors say 33-year-old Demetrius Combs was indicted on several charges, including possession with intent to distribute. Combs, a baseball coach at Cahokia High School. Your Lou Information Station is streaming 24/7 at louinfo.com. I'm Jared Cirillo.
Now, LouInfo.com weather. Presented by STL Sports Central. St. Louis sports. Anytime, anywhere.
Here's your LouInfo.com weather update. Lots of sunshine, upper 80s for the afternoon high today. Overnight, some clouds and mid-60s, and then no big changes for Thursday and Friday. We have that really strong high-pressure system parked overhead. Sunday on Thursday and also Friday will be in the upper 80s both days, mid-80s and sunny for the upcoming weekend. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton on the Lou Information Station, streaming 24/7 at louinfo.com.
People ask all the time, who the heck is Low Cost Airlines? Well, we're not just one airline. When you're talking to us, you're talking to everyone. We are the discount supermarket for all airline tickets. Plus, we have all the airlines and always have the best prices. American, Delta, United, plus all the specialized international airlines and a lot more. And we make it easy. We guarantee you'll talk to a live human in 60 seconds. You can have the rate you need and have your trip booked in 5 minutes. Now, how cool is that? And remember, when you're talking to us, it's like talking to every single airline available with one fast phone call. All you need to do is call and find the best prices to fly wherever it is you want to go. So are you ready? Call Low Cost Airlines right now. 800-298-0306. 800-298-0306. 800-298-0306. That's 800-298-0306.
This is the Gateway. For those who seek more.
This is about me and my legacy.
A vision of greatness yet to come.
I will not rest until I have taken everything.
Step through this gateway and live this wrestle dream. An AEW pay-per-view event. Live Saturday, October 18th from Chaffetz Arena in St. Louis. Tickets on sale now at AEWTIX.com.
Lunchtime just got a whole lot better at Hot Shots Sports Bar and Grill. From mouth-watering wraps to loaded quesadillas to bold, flavor-packed sandwiches, Hot Shots has something fresh every single day, along with your favorite wings, burgers, and pizza that you know and love.
And don't sleep on those Hot Shots tacos.
Plus, if you gotta be in and out quick for lunch, Hot Shots has you covered every day starting at 11 a.m. Find your nearest Hot Shots Sports Bar and Grill now at hotshotsnet.com.
That's hotshotsnet.com.
we're back on MIZSTL on the Lou Information Station, and we are going to rank our top 5 teams in the SEC. Brendan Schaefer, Hannah Barton, and Grant Salzman. And here is how the AP poll ranks the SEC. Ole Miss first, Oklahoma 2, A&M 3. Then you got Texas at 4, Bama at 5, Georgia at 6, Vandy at 7, and Missouri at 8. So maybe, you know, what I'm going to ask you to do is rank those 8 teams, because those feel like the 8 teams right now that really have a fighting chance at the college football playoff in the SEC.
I like that better, because I was looking at top 5 going, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not a downer to be 8. I think these 8 are actually really closely contested.
I agree.
Did you say Missouri is 8th in the AP? Is that
in the
where
AP?
we're at?
Yes.
5, 6, 7. Yeah, I see 9. No. Wait a minute.
Am I missing somebody?
I think so. Ole Miss, Oklahoma.
That's
A&M,
2, 3,
Texas,
4,
Alabama,
5,
Georgia,
6,
LSU,
7,
Tennessee,
Ah.
Vanderbilt, Missouri. I think there's more than 8 there.
I think there is 2. So we have Missouri 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
We're counting.
6, 7,
Hold on, we're counting.
8, 9. There's 10.
There's 10.
Let's just rank all 10.
Might as well.
Might as well. All right.
Let's give our top 10. And if you think Mississippi State is better than Missouri because they're the ones receiving votes right
Yeah.
now, they're technically 28th in the rankings, then you can do that. You could drop
Okay.
Missouri out if you'd want to.
Do we just want to go? Everyone goes at once, or you
Yeah,
want?
let's just debate some of this and
Okay.
rock and roll. Do you want to start at the top or at the bottom?
Let's start at the bottom and work our way up.
Okay.
I would say the 10th best team on this list on the AP poll is Vanderbilt.
I'm higher on Vanderbilt, man.
I still think we're waiting to see a little bit from them, and this weekend could definitely move that up. Who would you put at 10?
I think my bottom 2 are Tennessee and LSU.
Wow.
being
Okay.
honest. I just don't. I think. I know. I'm going to say LSU is 10. I think there is so much room for them to go up on this, Hannah. But I don't like their offense right now, and I think that the numbers their defense have put up is the result of largely just not really playing a bunch of great offenses. Clemson and Florida games don't mean anything to me, and Chambliss and Ole Miss had a pretty good game offensively against them. So I'm going to put LSU is in that doubt category for me. They're 13th in the AP overall. They're still obviously a CFP contender. I'm going to put them at 10. I'm going to put Tennessee at 9 because I don't trust their defense yet. I got to see it more.
Hannah, what about you?
I have Tennessee at 10. And then I would put probably LSU at 9 just because we haven't seen what we need to from Garrett Nussmeier. But yeah, I would go Tennessee 10, LSU 9. So flipped from Brendan.
I would go now, if I have Vandy at 10, I would go LSU at 9 and Tennessee at 8.
Okay.
I think I would have Vandy at 8.
Okay.
I'm still trying to find ways to move Vanderbilt up.
Uh-huh.
I've been very impressed with them. They're going to obviously have their chance to really jump up this list at Tuscaloosa this weekend. I'm very much looking forward to that game. But for now, I probably don't have a lot more. Mizzou and Vanderbilt is going to be one of the best games of the year in the SEC. I'm just telling you guys. But for right now, for what we've seen from each side this season, I'm going to actually go, man. Like, I've still got Mizzou making the college football playoff, but when you think about what they've shown and proven so far, they're going to be one of the next 2 teams on this list for me. I'll give Mizzou the slight edge right now. Call it homerism. I'll go Vandy 8, Missouri 7.
I also would have Mizzou at 7. Hannah?
You know what? Let's do that. I agree with that as well. We'll put. I do think Mizzou. Oof. I do think I might put Vanderbilt above Mizzou.
It's not unreasonable.
Mizzou
I'm contractually obligated not to, but otherwise.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Mizzou or Vanderbilt at what are we at? 7 and Mizzou at 6.
Oh, you're gonna put Mizzou? No, I think you were saying Mizzou at 8.
Who you got at 8?
Sorry, Mizzou at 8, Vanderbilt at 7.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's right. I don't disagree with that.
I would put Texas A&M at 6.
Ooh.
I'm actually going to make an amendment. People aren't going to agree with it. So
Huh.
go ahead on that point first, Grant, and then I'll announce my amendment.
I'm juggling between the two. I think right now I would put Oklahoma at 6. I think Texas A&M's shown me just a little bit more winning that game at Notre Dame than Oklahoma has.
Well, are we going off of what Oklahoma has shown us or what we think we're going to see without?
Yeah, you can do it either way.
Yeah, it's hard.
Do it how you want.
It's
They're your
hard.
rankings.
I would say I would ranking right now. I would put Oklahoma at 6 and A&M at 5.
Let me ask Hannah this question: the distinction there. Are you higher on what Oklahoma will do, or are you higher on what they have done? How do you view that?
And see, it's just hard to know what they will do because we haven't seen them without John Materia.
Yeah.
Now, if we knew we were going to be seeing them with the same quarterback, I would feel confident putting them as one of the top 5 teams without a doubt. But I just don't know because he's been so influential on this offense. I think I'm actually going to move Oklahoma, bump them down below Texas A&M, just because I don't know what to expect without John Mateer at QB.
So, okay. You guys were leaning into the big reveal I was going to make by dogging Oklahoma. I'm actually moving them below Mizzou and Vanderbilt.
Wow.
Okay.
And I don't think I would have the cover to do that without the injury to Mateer. But when I evaluate Oklahoma, you beat Michigan, and that was a good win. I don't think Michigan's a bad team, but I think Michigan and Auburn are kind of similar. Neither of them are top 25 teams, in my opinion. Michigan might be there in the AP, but I don't care. I'm trying to find them now. Yeah, they're 20. Snuck back in. They're 20th. And those are solid wins for sure, but they didn't blow anybody out. And now they're without their quarterback. And look, man, things could unravel for them if they don't get him back for Red River. That's a loss. If they don't get him for South Carolina at Columbia, I don't necessarily think Oklahoma wins that game. So I'm going to be the only person in the country still doubting Oklahoma is a top 5 team and go, nah, give me Vanderbilt, give me Missouri on a neutral field right now. In Norman, Mizzou's going to have a hard time. It's Alabama and Oklahoma are Mizzou's 2 toughest games that remain. But I'm going to go Oklahoma 8, Vanderbilt 7, Missouri 6, actually, is where I'm landed.
So I'm going to go Oklahoma at 6 and at 5. Is that what you did as well, Hannah?
Yes.
Okay, and then at 4, I would put Ole Miss as the 4th best team in the SEC. I know they've won some games, but I still think that the Texas, Georgia, and Alabama are better than Ole Miss.
I want to see more out of Texas. I'm putting Texas 5th and A&M 4th.
Wow.
I have not seen anything yet from Texas. Anything.
I agree. I'm having Texas at 4. I don't have them above Georgia, Alabama, or Ole Miss.
Okay, now I'll reveal my top 3 here. I'll go Texas at 3, Georgia at 2, and Alabama is the best team in the SEC. They beat Georgia, who I thought was the best team in the SEC, at Georgia. It now gives, I think Alabama has the best win in the country. And so I think they're the best team in the SEC then. What do you think, Brendan?
Yeah, I'm going Alabama 1, Ole Miss 2, Georgia 3. But man, it's tight. I think it's tight on all those spots. And
it's so close.
Give me Georgia 2. I think Georgia's still better. Georgia, I think I would still take Georgia to be a national championship contender over Ole Miss. Ole Miss and A&M and Texas are all teams that very much are likely to make the playoff, even if I don't trust them yet. And it would just take, they're going to play these games. They're going to play these games. The game that Ole Miss played against LSU bumps them up, obviously. Texas is going to have those games. A&M is going to have more of those games. We're going to sort this out. But right now, do I still kind of lean on the brands? Maybe I do, because I think Alabama, Georgia are still the 2 that I would trust the most to make a deep CFP run.
I think I would agree with that. What do you say, Hannah, to round out your top 3?
I'm putting Georgia at 3.
Okay.
For right now. Honestly, I'm back and forth on Alabama, Ole Miss, just because if you look at it, if we're talking about the best team in the SEC right now, Ole Miss is sitting at 5-0 overall, 3-0 in conference play.
Yeah.
You know, but then again, Alabama also, you know, they've only played one conference game, and of course it's a big win. I feel like the only thing that is keeping me from putting Ole Miss at number one is their defense, because I feel like if you're looking at a complete football team, you still, you know, you've clearly found an offensive rhythm with Ole Miss, but I think I'm going to have to lean on the brand as well. I think I'm going to go, and if you would have asked me this after I lost to Florida State, I would have said you're crazy, but I think I'm going to go Alabama at 1, Ole Miss at 2, Georgia at 3.
Yeah. I mean,
Alabama has the best win in the SEC this year, in my opinion.
I think they have the best win in the country.
I agree.
Best win in the country. I mean, road win against Georgia is probably hard to top, but we have questions about Georgia, right? We're still sort of deferring to Georgia being Georgia when, if they're not, you know, if time proves them to just be more of like if they go 9-3 this year, still a very good win, but is there something out there that's been more impressive? Like Oregon over Penn State.
Yeah.
I get that I'm a big skeptic of Penn State because they can never win the big game. But I don't think there's a better environment in the country that's seen a road team come in and win.
The whiteout especially
on Saturday night. So like, I'm definitely giving credit to that one. We thought Texas was one of the top teams in the country. Ohio State beat them, but it's like, now I still need to see Texas. It's almost like, to really respect Ohio State as the de facto number 1 team in the nation, I need to see Texas play a really good game against a really good opponent and win, you know?
Such a shame that Ohio State and Oregon don't play this year. Could be a one like we had last year. Oh.
I assume they're going to, like, if I may.
Yes, that's true. But
it's called the Big Ten championship game, and that's who's going to meet up.
I should say in the Big Ten regular season. Now, okay, so we've ranked our top 10. Let me ask you to this as we round out the show, because this one I think is even harder than your top teams. Who's the best quarterback in the SEC?
Ooh.
I don't like this question.
I mean, I would say probably Mateer before his injury. He's hurt. Aguilar's been great. Bo Bueller's been great. Ty Simpson looks good. Trinidad looks good. Arch, who everyone thinks is the most talented quarterback in the country, has not looked good. Nuss stinks.
Like, the two names that I want to talk about are Sellers and Pavia. That you named like 6 guys and you didn't talk about those two.
Diego.
So it's like,
man.
But
Sellers, he doesn't look like the best quarterback in the SEC.
No, not this year, but I think talent-wise, you still have to respect that. I'm looking at ESPN's QBR has Pavia at number 1. We're going to find out as time goes along.
It could be Pavia.
Taylor Green's really good.
Yeah.
Ty Simpson's the one that I think.
Taylor Green is good.
Yeah. It's a good quarterback
but
league.
I still have
like,
Lenora Sellers at my number 1.
Yeah, and that's fair. I was going to say Pabula just to kind of give a wink to the crowd, but you know, he's got to clean up a few of his mistakes. I think he can do that, but he's made like 1 mistake per game that is maybe decision-making stuff more than anything. But he's been exactly what Mizzou's needed him to be. He's probably going to have to run more against Alabama to win that game. But man, I don't know. You could list 10 guys and you could put them in almost any order, and I don't think definitively we could have confidence that it'll be in a week's time. It won't look completely ridiculous. Well, because guys are going to perform and they're going to change it.
It's just funny because there's a bunch of like above average to good quarterbacks in this league, but there's nobody that's really pulling away. Like, this guy is the Heisman candidate. This guy is the guy. And maybe it was Mateer, but now he's banged up. We don't know. I'm going to say it's John Mateer. If he's only out for a few weeks and he's back by Red River and he balls out there, it'll look good. But there's also a chance he's out for a month and looks terrible. But I would put Mateer right now.
The guys that I have the most confidence in right now to be not looking like a ridiculous answer in a month is Ty Simpson, Aguilar, and Chambliss are the 3 that I have like the most confidence in to not complete. Like,
Pavia.
At a time, Pavia's up there, but like he could regress. Mateer, is injured right now. He's certainly high on that list. It's funny though, like before the season, many people, if they were making a top 5, I don't think you would have had very many top 5s that didn't include Arch Manning and DJ Lagway. No. Right now, they're not even in the top 12. I mean, it's been a very, very topsy-turvy season, and we're just getting started. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, I mean, the football's been great, and there's not a lot of really big games this weekend. I'm curious quickly here. Bama Vandy, I think Bama might get their revenge for last year on Vanderbilt. I mean,
they're favored by 10.5,
yeah.
So they ought to. I mean, that's what's supposed to happen, but we'll see.
What do you think, Hannah?
On
Vandy, Bama. Yeah.
Oh, maybe just call it a salty taste in my mouth, but I want Alabama to beat Vanderbilt. I just do. I really
ruined
do.
her dreams, and I get it.
Yeah, Vanderbilt kind of crushed my soul a little bit a couple weeks ago, guys, and I'd like to see them crushed back.
If
we're just being honest here.
If you don't see it happen eventually, that means Vandy's the best team in the country because they play at Bama, home against LSU, home against Mizzou, at Texas, and at Tennessee. 5 really, really hard games, and you could see them losing all 5 of those games and still go, they're not that bad. They just played 5 of the best teams in the country. It's the SEC, and with the 9-game schedule now, there's not going to be one easy schedule left, Brendan.
No, there's not. Not next year. I mean, nobody's going to get off particularly easy.
No.
Vanderbilt's interesting, though. I've said, man, I've been looking and trying to say there's college football playoff odds. If they win a couple of these games that people don't think they have a chance in, like Vanderbilt's going to be a shoe-in.
Yeah.
They get to 9 and have a really good chance.
I agree with that, and that will start at Alabama at 2:30. Well, guys, that's all the time we have today. Brendan Schaefer and myself will be back Friday morning talking all things SEC from a little bit of a gambling perspective, trying to win you some money. Hannah Barton, thank you as always. This is the Lou Information Station. We're live and on demand at louinfo.com. Up next, Charlie Tuna and the Posse.
Buddy. What do you say, buddy? Man, life comes at you fast. 1 minute you're cruising home, then